So when you're thinking about buying a vehicle for your carpet cleaning business, this is kind of where, the men get separated from the boys in a sense, or just like where it gets a little bit scarier, right? Because, typically like you're leaving maybe a stable job, or you're trying to like part-time leave a stable job and start your own business. And you've discussed with like your wife, your partner, your friends, your family, oh, I'm going to start a business. And, some of them pretend to believe in you. Some of them actually believe in you. Some don't believe in you. And like, especially if you're sharing a bank account with a spouse or something, and, maybe buying a $3,000 carpet cleaner, you're able to get a pass on. But, now that you're thinking about buying a whole other vehicle, this starts to be kind of like a major thing. You start to doubt yourself, all these emotions that you have to work through to be a successful entrepreneur. And, not every fear is irrational. Like sometimes you aren't actually in a place in your life where you're ready to make that leap. So maybe you're scared about, buying a commercial vehicle, and you should be, because maybe you have other priorities or something. So, I would just encourage to look at the situation you have now. If you have like an SUV, a car, honestly, whatever you have, you can make it work. So I actually started in a 2002 two-door Honda Civic. Not the most professional looking thing in the world. I removed the passenger seat to fit the Ninja 500. I got the heaviest one. I had no idea I was going to bust my back over the years lugging that 110-pound thing around. But I did get like vinyl stickers from a real sign shop. So I looked like a business. It just, some people did laugh. And, the thing was, I was so determined, it didn't really matter, because by the time I showed up at their house, the appointment was already made. And honestly, I was able to win them over with my charm. And so what started out as like a weakness, like, oh, look at this hack with a car, like, oh, what a loser. I didn't even have any of those thoughts. I didn't even realize until I started posting stuff online that, people are very defensive about, you need the top of the line stuff or you're a hack and get out of the industry and stuff. If you just go into it with innocence, it's kind of funny how people respond. Like if you show up with your equipment, do a good job, I feel like sometimes by having a crappy car and then I did a good job, people were so eager to refer me because, they believed in me. And then all of a sudden my business became something more than just my service. Like they believed in me and they wanted me to be successful. They saw I was a nice young guy. And it's just kind of funny how the world works that way when you kind of do things right, treat people well, and actually have hope and don't just expect the worst and get in your own head and stuff. So I would say, honestly, like whatever vehicle you have now, you can probably make it work with. Just make it as professional as possible. Get real like stickers, not a magnet. A magnet's fine too, but just do your absolute best to make it look professional, have a uniform. And honestly, like you might have some bad experiences where someone's like, oh, I thought you would have, a truck and a truck mount and all this stuff, but there are ways to overcome it. Now, if budget permits, like it's nice to have a commercial van because, when customers see you show up in an actual dedicated business vehicle, in a way, they're more likely to refer you. Like they feel like they picked the right service. And then also when you're driving by or your vehicle's parked, people are going to look at that van and go, oh, I didn't know that business is in my area. I should Google them. And then they find your Google reviews and then they find your website. And then all of a sudden you have a customer. But don't let this whole commercial vehicle thing stop you, because there's lots of people out there who are going to tell you you're a hack. Like you can't do it unless you have 50 grand invested. And they're actually just wrong. Like in my first year, this was in 2017 with my Honda Civic, I did 40 grand in sales in half a year. It's kind of crazy. Like, yeah, like sometimes if I take certain chunks of time, I did better when I was running, my little car business instead of my big time Mr. Steam big van business. And it was because it pulled on people's heartstrings. They're like, oh, look at this young man trying to make it in the world. How beautiful. I'm going to make a Facebook post about him. And people did. They actually went out of their way. They'd take a picture of me working. They'd put it on their personal Facebook page and it would just take off. So just make it work with what you have. And that's kind of wishy-washy advice. It's emotional advice. It's good advice. The more practical thing is, if you do have a small car, maybe it would be smart to just offer vehicle detailing at first and get a smaller machine like the E600, because it'll fit in your trunk. When you're detailing people's vehicles, they don't really expect like a huge truck. Keep in mind, with my service, all we do is the interior. We say we're interior steam cleaning specialists. We just do the interior of the vehicle. So you don't need power washers and stuff. You just need a steam cleaner, you know, a bag of small tools, mother's VLR to make the rubber and the vinyl and stuff look nice. All things that can just fit in the car. So on a more practical note, instead of being all emotional, you might just want to start with auto detailing. Convince yourself, convince your spouse, convince your friends you have a real business. Once the sales are coming in, you could justify upgrading. And then I would say the first thing to upgrade to would probably be kind of like a crappy commercial van someone's given up on. That's about like $4 or $5 grand online. Make sure you get an inspection from a mechanic. It's okay if it has some rust, but you don't want to walk into a situation where the person's getting rid of it because the transmission's failing, getting rid of it because there's all these, you know, codes on the dash that they're hiding. So take it to a mechanic, make sure it's going to last at least a couple years. And then who cares? Because after a couple of years, you're going to have about $60,000 to $100,000 in revenue. And then that's when you can start thinking about, you know, maybe lease a vehicle. Like if you look super duper good with a brand new vehicle, you'll get you a couple extra customers a month. And then it kind of pays for itself in a way. Or maybe keep buying, you know, these old commercial vans and just keep recycling them as time goes on. But I feel like, you know, as you are in it for a few years, it's going to be part of your ego, part of your pride. You're going to want to have something you're proud of. So, you know, buy that rust box, spray paint it. It'll look kind of crappy, but it won't be rusty. Just kind of use Bondo and make it look decent, make it work, get the vinyl stickers. And then later, once you have a real business, you're confident, think about spending more money on a vehicle. You know, or alternatively, if you find that you really like the auto detailing side of steam cleaning, you might decide just to do that kind of as like a side hustle. Maybe you have a flexible job, you're in snow removal or some kind of job that is flexible. And, you know, maybe you just want to make more money on the evenings and weekends. So you decorate your primary vehicle as a commercial vehicle, you drive it to your regular job, and you drive it for your business. And then you have this advantage where the kilometers you use for business, you can write off as a tax expense. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, having this business is kind of a smart thing because now you have office expense write-offs. Your cell phone, you're saying, is purely a business expense. Tons of stuff you can buy for business, still use it a bit for personal, but you can kind of like subsidize the expenses in your regular life. Of course, officially, you should only claim things that are just used for business, but sometimes the lines are blurred, to be honest. Like say you're going for a drive to pick up carpet cleaning supplies and you also grab groceries. Well, it was a business trip. You primarily went to grab the carpet cleaning supplies, and on the way back, you grab groceries. You know, it's up to you and, you know, the tax auditor to figure out, but some of these things, the line between personal and business, it's like a little bit fuzzy. So just, you know, be compliant, but it is an advantage, especially like a home office expense, right? Like that's a good one. So yeah, I wanted to try being kind of more emotional because I know starting a business is such an emotional experience. There's all these financial things that'll bother you, family things. You might have like nightmares. You might doubt yourself. You might start calling yourself a loser, but honestly, it's going to be fine. Like, yeah, just believe in yourself. Like, especially if all you're doing is buying a steam cleaner and you're not buying a separate commercial vehicle, it's totally going to be fine. Worst case scenario, you have to sell that, you know, machine you just bought and didn't use, but like, it's not even going to depreciate that much. So you'll lose like maybe hundreds of dollars for this opportunity. And don't even think about that. Just like, if you do your best, it's going to be fine. This isn't that competitive of an industry. It's not that glamorous. Not a lot of young people aspire to get into this business. Like, it's kind of like an old fashioned trades kind of job, and everyone's too busy TikToking and stuff. Like, I don't know, you're going to be fine. The market isn't that saturated. Like, it's not. So in summary, you probably came to this video looking to spend some money to be official, to be the real deal. But I honestly believe you should just start with whatever personal vehicle you have, make a real business out of it. And then once you have all this cash flow, it's going to be obvious. You're just going to buy stuff because you want it, because it looks good for your business. And it's a good way to keep your risk low by just using whatever vehicle you already have. Awesome, thanks. If you liked my advice, please let me know. And if you want help, like if you want like training, website, all that stuff, you can start a Mr. Steam franchise, no fee up front. You get 90% of your sales. I take 10% to pay for the website and the system and everything. It's I wish it existed when I was starting out, because man, it makes things a whole lot easier to have a system ready to go. You just kind of learn and implement. So consider that, but if not, good luck on your journey. I hope the carpet cleaning industry provides, everything you hope and expect it to. So you can do it. Bye.